Survivor 46 is here, and so is On Fire, the only official Survivor podcast, and we have a twist this season. The winner of Survivor 45, Dee Valladares, will be joining us every week.
We're going behind the scenes of the biggest moments, the how and the why things happen, and the strategy and analysis you can only get from someone like me, a Survivor winner.
Listen to On Fire, the official Survivor podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
Getting engaged is a moment worth cherishing. A one-of-a-kind ring that you design at Blue Nile can help your love sparkle. Just choose your diamond and setting. When you've found the one, you'll get it delivered right to your door. Finding the right engagement ring can be nerve-wracking. At Blue Nile, you'll have the expert guidance needed and a diamond guarantee that ensures you're getting the highest quality at the best price. Cherish all of life's moments and save up to 30% at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
With threats to our nation waiting around every corner, adaptability is more important than ever. When conditions change without notice, quick strategic thinking is crucial. And with obstacles consistently impending, determination is essential in overcoming them. It's this willingness, decisiveness, and resilience that sets Marines apart. With our fighting spirit, we don't just fight battles, we win them. Marines are the constant our nation counts on to fight the unknown. And through adaptable problem solving, we do just that. Learn more at marines.com.
I'm Alex Rodriguez.
And I'm Jason Kelly.
From Bloomberg, this is The Deal. Each week, you'll hear us in conversation with business icons.
This show will explore deal-making across sports, media, and entertainment.
That is a harsh lesson in business.
Sports is not as simple as bringing a bunch of big names together.
I didn't want to do another stomp you out speech.
It opened up so many more doors.
The show is called The Deal.
Listen to The Deal.
Listen to The Deal on Spotify.
Welcome back, Ram fans. This is Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are proud members of the Fans First Sports Network. That's fansfirstsports.com. You can also follow us on YouTube. Our channel is at LA Rams Up. I'm your host, Mark. You'll hear from my co-host, Tom, on occasion as well. Hey, we're not Rams insiders. We're just longtime fans who love talking about our Los Angeles Rams. Let's get to it. Welcome back, Ram fans. What do we have for you this episode? We're going to get through some news and notes, and then we are going to talk safeties as we continue our tour around Rams position groups. And I'm also going to review a mock draft that popped up recently that was a little interesting. Episode 405. Now, we talked about someone who wore number 5 during episode 305, and that was Dieter Brock, the quarterback. This time I'm going to talk about one of the greatest punters in the history of the NFL, Sean Landeta. 21-year NFL career, 83 games for the LA and St. Louis Rams. He punted for over 60,000 yards in his career, 4th on the all-time list. He played for the Rams in 1993 and 1994 in Los Angeles, was on the bus to St. Louis, played 2 more years there, 95 and 96, left the Rams, and then came back to the St. Louis Rams in 2003 and 2004. Sean Landeta, one of our number 5s for the St. Louis and Los Angeles Rams. Get through a couple of player news items. The Rams have brought back Larrell Murchison, the defensive tackle. Now, I was actually surprised that this hadn't happened earlier and that they let Jonah Williams walk as well, considering that the Rams knew for quite some time that Aaron Donald wasn't coming back. So Murchison back in the fold. So that improves our depth there a little bit. We basically have 5 legitimate NFL defensive linemen at the moment, in my opinion. Kobe Turner, Bobby Brown, Deshaun Johnson, Corey Durden, and Larrell Murchison. So we do need some bodies there, that's for sure. The Rams have met with Carson Barnhart, the offensive guard from Michigan, 6'4", 316, Draft Tech had him in the 300s as far as player rankings. Apparently fits the profile the Rams are looking for in their new power running game. Remains to be seen if he's actually even draftable, but if he is, he's a guy the Rams apparently are a little bit interested in. And before I forget, kind of a bummer, Rams and 49ers both ousted from March Madness. I'm talking about the Colorado State Rams and the Long Beach State 49ers. Man, I wanted the Rams to win that second game. Remember, they had to win the play-in game, the first 4 game, to get to Thursday, and then they lost. Would have been nice just to say Rams advance and the 49ers are done, but they're both done, which means I think we're left to rooting for the San Diego State Aztecs at this point. Now, this mock draft I wanted to talk about comes from Chad Reuter, very reliable drafter, NFL commentator, knows his stuff, and what he had the Rams do in the first round was trade back with the Chiefs. Chiefs wanted to come up and grab the wide receiver, Xavier Worthy, and the Rams slide to the 32nd spot and pick up the Chiefs' second round pick as well. And with that 32nd pick, the Rams picked the big defensive lineman, Terzan Newton out of Illinois. He was my second choice in that player pod segment I did. I took Byron Murphy II ahead of Newton, but Newton's a solid choice. Worth noting that in between 19 and 32, the edge rusher Latu went, as did our Byron Murphy II and the wide receiver Brian Thomas, all guys I think the Rams should be targeting, all 3 of them in my 8-player pod. With the Rams' second round pick, Reuter had them selecting the safety out of Georgia, Javon Bullard. Now, I got a segment coming up on safeties after this, so I'm not going to say anything more about that other than I don't think that's happening. So then the Rams had that pick at the end of the second round that originally belonged to the Chiefs, and Chad had the Rams selecting one of Paul Wallier's favorite linebackers, Trevin Wallace, out of Kentucky, super athletic. Is Chad watching our stuff? You have to wonder. With the Rams' first pick in the 3rd round, now they have 2 picks in the 3rd round here, Chad had them taking Jalix Hunt, the edge rusher out of Houston Baptist. I don't know, man. That's awfully early for him. I mocked him to the Rams in the 6th or 7th round at some point, I think. Maybe Chad knows something I don't. And then with that comp pick at the end of the 3rd round, and this is one I really don't like, Cam Little, the kicker out of Arkansas. And still on the board when Cam Little was selected by Chad, Leonard Taylor, the defensive tackle out of Miami, Mekhi Wingo, another defensive tackle out of LSU, 2 edge rushers, Jonah Ellis out of Utah, Chris Braswell out of Alabama. Ellis is a guy that someone on our YouTube channel called out as a strong option for the Rams. Jalen Polk, the wide receiver out of Washington. If you're looking for a receiver in the mid-rounds, Polk would be a great selection. The safety out of USC, Kalen Bullock, and a running back I love for this offense, Audric Estime. So I don't know, Chad. I'm going to have to push back on this. Don't have a big issue with trading back and getting Newton. I get it. And then you use that pick to select Trevin Wallace at the end of the 2nd round. A little early for him, although I do love the player. And in between Newton and Wallace with your own 2nd round pick, take a safety. I don't think the Rams are going to pick a safety at this point in the draft. Again, I'll talk about that in our segment coming up here when we talk safeties. Jalix Hunt and Cam Little, just way too early for both those guys in my opinion. But that's Chad Reuter's mock. We'll see how it turns out. I think I like Paul's mocks much better than this, though. Maybe we're setting up Paul for a new career here. Hey, you never know.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
I'm Alex Rodriguez.
And I'm Jason Kelly.
From Bloomberg, this is The Deal. Each week, you'll hear us in conversation with business icons.
This show will explore deal-making across sports, media, and entertainment.
That is a harsh lesson in business.
Sports is not as simple as bringing a bunch of big names together.
I didn't want to do another stomp you out speech.
It opened up so many more doors.
The show is called The Deal.
Listen to The Deal.
Listen to The Deal on Spotify.
Does Monday at the office feel like a storm? Not with Microsoft Copilot. That feeling when Copilot gets everyone up to speed instantly? It's sunny again. When Copilot simplifies complex data so your teams can act, that sun's shining on a beach. And when Copilot uncovers hidden insights, you're on that beach with your people, and you find buried treasure. That's Microsoft Copilot. Learn more at Microsoft.com/AI for all.
Welcome back, everybody. We are going to continue our tour of Rams position groups. This episode, we're going to talk about safeties. And it's a good thing we waited this position group out because the Rams have made a significant change, obviously. Signing free agent Kamren Curl kind of changes everything as far as our safety group goes. Let's start out by reviewing safeties the Rams have drafted over the last 13, 14 years. 2011 and 2012, no safeties drafted. In 2013, we selected TJ McDonald in the third round. He turned out to be a decent player, moved on to Miami after a few years. In 2014, we drafted 3 safeties if we're counting LaMarcus Joyner. Some would call him a nickelback, but he played some safety. We also selected Maurice Alexander in the 4th round and Christian Bryant in the 7th round. And Maurice Alexander had a promising start to his career, but did not end well from the Rams' perspective. In 2015 and 2016, again, no safeties drafted. Sean McVay arrives, and in 2017, they selected John Johnson in the 3rd round. And he has had a nice little career. 2018, no safeties selected. 2019, 2 safeties. Taylor Rapp in the 2nd round and Nick Scott in the 7th round. Rapp probably never lived up to 2nd round value, but he was a decent player. I think a lot of Ram fans would disagree with me on that. He seems to be one of the more underappreciated players that have played for the Rams in recent years. Nick Scott, for a 7th round draft pick, turned out pretty good. In 2020, Terrell Burgess in the 3rd round and Jordan Fuller in the 6th round. And in this case, we definitely got the better player later. Burgess hurt himself early in his career and really never bounced back from that. 2021, no safeties. In 2022, Quentin Lake in the 6th round. That was really good value. And Russ Yeast in the 7th round. Considering where we selected him, he's turned out all right as well. In 2023, Jason Taylor, jury's still out on him. Barely got on the field aside from special teams last year. Our current roster, and this gets a little confusing because we're not sure how the Rams are going to deploy these guys, but got to include Quentin Lake. They'll slide into that star position at times for sure, possibly even cover slot receivers. Russ Yeast, who I believe is a pure safety. The aforementioned Jason Taylor, an undrafted 2nd-year player, Tanner Ingle, and then the free agent addition, Kamren Curl. Now, at the start of free agency, no position had more quality players available than safety. There were already a bunch of free agent safeties, and then there were several more that were salary cap cuts. I don't think we need to talk about them because the Rams have already made their addition. The guy Pro Football Focus called the 3rd best safety available, Kamren Curl from the Commanders. And he's a guy that can line up anywhere, and that's why this is going to be a difficult assessment. Quentin Lake can sort of kind of line up anywhere. So can Kamren Curl. They can both play a little bit of cornerback if needed. So who are starting safeties? Who's going to play that star position? Who's going to line up over the slot? All that remains to be seen. But let's not talk about any available free agents other than John Johnson. John Johnson is a guy that I still feel the Rams will bring back. And if they bring back John Johnson, they don't need to draft any safeties. But they probably will, assuming they hang on to 10 or 11 picks. They'll draft a safety late in the draft. Don't think they're going to use a 1st through 3rd round draft pick on a safety at this point. And let's talk about these draft prospects. Well, the top guys are, well, Cooper DeJean, again, another guy that can play just about anywhere. He'll likely go late in the first round. Rams will not be selecting Cooper DeJean. And Tyler Nubin out of Minnesota, 6'2", 210. And he can play anywhere as well. But again, don't think the Rams are going to use a second-round pick on a safety. And Nubin is a playmaker, 13 career interceptions. Cameron Kinchins out of Miami is another guy that will go likely early in the second round, somewhere around the same time as Nubin. He'll probably go after Nubin, another versatile safety, really aggressive player. Late second, third round guys include Javon Bullard out of Georgia, Cole Bishop out of Utah, Kalen Bullock out of USC, Damani Richardson out of Texas A&M, Tyke Smith out of Georgia. He may last to the third round, but this is what I think is going to happen. If the Rams bring back John Johnson, then they're going to use a late round pick on a safety, someone like Malik Mustafa out of Wake Forest, one of Kobe Turner's old teammates, 5'11", 207. This is a guy you just want on your team, one of Paul Walia's Puka Power picks, and he is so on brand for what the Rams would do. A 6th or 7th round pick, a guy that's going to come in, make this team and contribute on day one. Malik Mustafa out of Wake Forest, and thank you, Paul, for telling me about this guy. Now, if they wanted to spend a mid-round draft pick on a safety, you all already know how much we like Sione Vaki out of Utah. Just another guy you want on your team. Very versatile. He can come up and punish people in the run game. He can drop back and play cover safety. Very versatile. And that's what it's all about at this point. Safeties that can do a bunch of different things for you. Now, what if they don't bring back John Johnson? Yeah, then they may spend an earlier round pick on a safety, but it's not going to be a first round pick. It's not going to be a second round pick. It may not even be a third round pick. They do have 2 third-round picks at the moment, though, and a guy to keep on your radar for the Rams, another Utah safety, Cole Bishop, just an overall solid football player, ball hawk, playmaker, and another guy Paul Walia loves. But you get the theme here. Bring back John Johnson, use a mid or late round pick on a safety. No John Johnson, maybe go a little bit earlier and get an impact player. Someone drops to you in the third round, or you pick up a 4th round pick by moving around a little bit, and one of these talented safeties falls to you in the 4th round. Yeah, but if John Johnson is in the room, I think we're looking at a guy like Vaki or maybe Mustafa or similar players in that same range, 4th through the 7th round. Hey, if Malik Mustafa is there in the 6th round, be a very, very solid pick for the Rams. And that would give them a really well-rounded safety group that would offer so much flexibility. John Johnson and Russ Yeast, Kamren Curl and Quentin Lake, the 2 second-year players, Jason Taylor and Tanner Engel, and hey, a guy like Vaki or Mustafa, man, I'd be excited about that group. So my thinking is, hey, safety group, we're in pretty good shape right now, but 3 names to be thinking about: John Johnson, Cole Bishop, Sione Vaki, and Malik Mustafa. That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Our handle is at laramsup.com. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.